A woman's scream cuts through the storm. They said my time is over, but the spirits say different. Picture this. A lone figure stands on the wild Wyoming plains, rain crashing down, lightning splitting the sky. Her name is Wiyaka Sapa, a Lakota woman past 50 winters, chasing a promise of a new life. But when she gets there, the man she trusted turns her away, calling her too old, too worn. She's left with nothing but the wind howling her name. What happens when everyone gives up on you, but you refuse to give up on yourself? Stick around to the end, because this story will show you a strength you won't forget. Imagine a woman riding alone across the wide Wyoming plains. Her horse is old, its coat rough from years of wind and sun. She grips the reins tight, a small bundle of belongings tied behind her. This is Wiyaka Sapa, a Lakota widow from the Oglala band. She's not a young girl chasing adventure. She's a woman of 50 winters carrying a quiet dream in her heart, a dream of finding a place to belong. Life hasn't been kind to Wiyaka. She lost her husband to a fever that swept through their camp. Then her little boy, her only son, slipped away too, taken by the same sickness. For years she lived with that heavy silence. But one day, a letter came, scratched out by a Cheyenne trader named Pte San. He wrote to her through a trading post, promising a home, a purpose, a new start. His words lit a spark in her chest, and she packed what little she had left to find him. She wasn't young anymore, but her hands were steady, her spirit still burning bright. The Lakota have a saying, the soul never ages, only the body bends with time. Wiyaka held that truth close. She believed she still had something to give, something worth sharing. So she rode out, the plains stretching endless before her, hoping this journey would mend the pieces life had broken. This is where her story begins, not with a promise kept, but with a heart ready to fight for its place. Wiyaka didn't know it yet, but the road ahead would test her in ways she never imagined, and that's what makes her worth watching. After days of riding, Wiyaka finally sees it. A Cheyenne camp sprawled out near a dusty trading post. The air smells of smoke and leather, and the ground is packed hard from boots and hooves. She slides off her horse, her legs stiff, but her hope still alive. She adjusts her shawl, smoothing her silver-streaked hair, and steps forward. This is the place Pte San wrote about, the place she's dreamed of calling home. She spots him right away, a broad man with a stern face, standing tall among the traders. His arms are crossed, his chin high, like he owns the earth beneath him. She walks up, her bundle clutched tight, and offers a small smile. But Pte San doesn't smile back. His eyes narrow as he takes her in, scanning her face, her hands, the lines carved by years of sun and sorrow. She sees his jaw tighten and her stomach twists. He steps closer, his voice low and sharp. "I wrote for a wife," he says, "someone to bear sons, to build a family, not a grandmother to sit by the fire and tell stories." The words hit her like a cold wind, stealing the air from her chest. She opens her mouth to speak, to tell him she's strong, that she can work, that she's more than her years. But he's already turning away, waving her off like she's nothing. Around them the camp stirs. Traders lean in, whispering. Cheyenne men and women glance over, some smirking, others just staring. A young boy points and laughs, and the sound cuts deeper than Pte San's words. Wiyaka feels their eyes on her, heavy and hot, stripping away the hope she carried all this way. Her bundle slips a little in her hands, but she grips it tighter. She wants to shout, to demand he honor his promise, but her throat locks up. Pte San doesn't even look back. He walks off toward a tent, leaving her standing alone in the dust, a stranger in a place that was supposed to be hers. Her heart sinks, a stone dropping into dark water. She feels the weight of every winter she's lived, every loss she's buried. For a moment she wonders if he's right. if she's foolish to think anyone would want her now. But then something shifts inside her. She straightens her back, lifts her chin. Her heart might be breaking, but she won't let them see it. The Lakota taught her a truth she's carried since she was a girl. Shame doesn't belong to the one who receives it, but to the one who gives it. Tatanka can turn his back, the crowd can laugh, but they can't take her spirit. She turns from the camp, her steps slow but steady. The traders' voices fade behind her, swallowed by the wind. She doesn't know where she's going yet, just that she won't beg for a place among people who don't see her worth. Her horse waits, its head low, and she climbs back on, her hands trembling but firm on the reins. The plains stretch out wide and empty ahead, and for the first time, she feels the sting of being truly alone. But Wiyaka isn't done. Not yet. This rejection isn't the end of her story. It's just the fire that's about to light her path. Wiyaka rides away from the Cheyenne camp, the dust of rejection still clinging to her boots. The plains open up around her, vast and wild, the grass swaying under a sky growing dark with clouds. Her horse plods along, its head low, as if it feels her heaviness too. She doesn't look back. The sting of Tatanka's words fades into the wind, but it leaves an ache she can't shake. The air turns cold, sharp with the promise of a storm. She pulls her shawl tighter, her eyes scanning the horizon for somewhere to rest. Thunder rumbles in the distance, and she knows she can't stay exposed much longer. She spots a cluster of rocks rising from the earth, tall and jagged, like the bones of some ancient giant. To the Lakota, places like this are sacred, touched by the spirits. She guides her horse toward it, hoping for shelter. Rain starts to fall, slow at first, then harder, soaking her hair and hands. She slides off her horse and ties it to a low bush, her fingers numb from the wet. Kneeling by the rocks, she presses her palms to the ground and whispers a prayer to Wakantanka, the Great Spirit. "Show me a path," she says, her voice soft but steady. "I'm lost, but I'm not broken." The wind howls back, and she waits, listening for an answer. That's when she hears it, the soft thud of hooves cutting through the storm. She looks up, squinting through the rain, and sees a figure riding toward her. He's a lone man, his outline sharp against the flashing sky. As he gets closer, she makes out his face, weathered and scarred, his eyes deep with years of seeing too much. This is Hoka Luta, a Lakota hunter from the Hunkpapa band. He's in his late 40s, lean and strong, with a bow slung across his back and a lantern swinging from his saddle. His horse stops a few paces away, and he studies her, rain dripping from the brim of his hat. He doesn't speak at first, just watches, like he's reading the story written in her stance. Finally, he slides off his horse and steps closer. "The storm doesn't care who you are," he says, his voice low and rough, "only that you survive it." He gestures to a small teepee pitched a short walk away, its hide walls glowing faintly from a fire inside. "Come, there's food and warmth." Wiyaka hesitates, her pride tugging at her. She doesn't want pity, but the rain beats harder, and her bones ache from the cold. She nods, grabbing her bundle, and follows him. Inside the teepee, the air is thick with the smell of burning sage and roasted meat. He hands her a piece of dried bison and a blanket, then sits across the fire, tending it with quiet hands. She waits for questions, for him to ask why she's out here alone, why her eyes carry so much weight. But Hoka doesn't ask. He just watches the flames, giving her space to breathe. She takes a bite of the meat, the warmth spreading through her chest, and feels something loosen inside her. He didn't see her silver hair or her tired face. He saw her spirit, steady and alive, not her years. The Lakota believe every soul carries a light, a spark that shines no matter how long you've walked the earth. It's dimmed only by those too blind to see it. Hoka wasn't blind. He saw her clear as day. They sit in silence for a while, the storm raging outside, the teepee holding strong against the wind. Wiyaka doesn't know it yet, but this moment is a turning point. Hoka isn't just a stranger offering shelter. He's a man who knows loss too, who carries his own scars. And in that small space, with the fire crackling between them, something starts to grow, not loud or fast, but slow and real. A bond built on respect, on seeing each other when no one else did. The night stretches on, and Wiyaka feels, for the first time in a long while, that she's not alone. The storm finally quiets as dawn creeps over the plains, painting the sky a soft gray. Wiyaka steps out of the teepee, her blanket still wrapped around her shoulders, and breathes in the damp, clean air. The sacred rocks gleam with leftover rain, and her horse stands calm, nibbling at the wet grass. Hoka's already up, checking his bow and tying his supplies to his saddle. They don't talk much, but there's a rhythm between them now, a quiet trust. She's starting to feel like maybe the spirits heard her prayer after all. But then, a shadow moves on the horizon, and her stomach tightens. Someone's coming. He rides in fast, a young man on a skinny horse, his clothes patched and dusty. He stops a few paces away and slides off, flashing a wide, crooked grin. His name is Pte San, a Cheyenne outcast, maybe 20 winters old. His hair hangs loose, and his eyes dart quick, like a bird hunting for crumbs. "I'm running," he says, his voice smooth and eager. "A rival band wants my scalp. I saw your fire last night, figured you might take me in." He spreads his hands, empty, pleading. Hoka squints at him, saying nothing, while Wiyaka watches from the teepee's edge. Something about that grin feels off, too slick, too practiced. Hoka nods slow and lets Pte San sit by the fire. He offers him water and a scrap of bison meat, but his hand stays close to his bow. Wiyaka pulls her shawl tight and steps closer, studying the stranger. Pte San talks fast, spinning a tale about a fight over stolen horses, how he barely got away with his life. But his story shifts, details slipping, and his eyes keep wandering. They linger too long on Hoka's horse, on the bundle of hides tied to the saddle, on the knife at Hoka's belt. Wiyaka's chest tightens. She leans close to Hoka and whispers, "A man who lies with his smile hides a blade in his heart." Hoka's jaw sets hard, and he gives her a small nod. They don't send Pte San away, not yet. The plains are harsh, and turning someone out without proof feels wrong. But they watch him close. Hoka sits across the fire, his hands busy sharpening an arrow, his eyes never leaving the young man. Wiyaka keeps her spot near the teepee, her fingers brushing the stone she used to weigh down her bundle just in case. Pte San chatters on, laughing too loud, asking questions about where they're headed, how long they've been out here. Every word feels like a thread, weaving a net she can't quite see. The air grows thick, not with rain now, but with something heavier, something waiting to snap. That night, as the fire burns low, Hoka pulls Wiyaka aside. His voice is soft, steady, like the earth underfoot. "There's a Lakota tale," he says, "about the trickster coyote. He wears a friendly face, shares your fire, but his hunger never sleeps. He waits till you close your eyes, then takes what's yours." Wiyaka nods, her mind racing. She's heard the story too, told around campfires when she was a girl. It's not just a tale, it's a warning. They agree without saying it. Pte San isn't staying for safety. He's here for something else. They'll keep their eyes open, their hands ready. The fire crackles, and Pte San stretches out, his grin still there, but Wiyaka sees it now, sharp as a hidden knife. The tension coils tight, like a bowstring pulled back, ready to let loose. Wiyaka feels it in her bones, a prickle of danger she can't shake. Hoka feels it too, his silence louder than words. They're not just two wanderers anymore. They're a pair standing against whatever Pte San's hiding. The plains stretch quiet around them, but inside the teepee, a storm of another kind is brewing. Wiyaka's not sure what's coming, but she knows one thing. She's not the helpless woman Tatanka saw. And with Hoka beside her, she's ready to face whatever this stranger brings. The night settles heavy over the plains, the fire burning low, just a flicker of orange against the dark. Wiyaka sits close to it, her blanket pulled tight, unable to sleep. The air feels thick, like it's holding its breath. Hoka rests a few steps away, his bow within reach, his chest rising slow and steady. Pte San lies near the teepee's edge, his body still, but Wiyaka doesn't trust the quiet. Her eyes stay on him, sharp and awake. She's learned to listen to the warnings her gut whispers, and tonight it's screaming. The wind rustles the grass outside, and she grips the stone from her bundle, its weight solid in her hand. Then it happens, fast and silent. Pte San moves, a shadow sliding toward Hoka. Moonlight catches the glint of a knife in his fist, small but deadly, pulled from somewhere under his shirt. He's not after shelter or company, he's after blood. He creeps closer, his grin gone, replaced by a cold, hungry stare. He raises the blade over Hoka's throat, ready to strike. But Wiyaka's faster. She lunges from her spot, the stone clutched tight, and swings it hard. It slams into Pte San's hand, a crack echoing through the night. He yelps, the knife dropping into the dirt, and Hoka snaps awake, his eyes wide with instinct. The teepee erupts into chaos. Pte San scrambles for the knife, cursing through gritted teeth, but Hoka's on him in a heartbeat. They wrestle, a tangle of limbs and grunts, dust kicking up around them. Wiyaka steps back, her heart pounding, the stone still in her grip. Hoka's stronger, battle-hardened, and he pins Pte San down, twisting his arms behind his back. Pte San thrashes, spitting words like venom, but he's no match. Hoka grabs a coil of rope from his saddle, looping it tight around the young man's wrists. Wiyaka watches, her breath shaky, but her feet planted firm. She didn't freeze, didn't falter. She acted, and Hoka's alive because of it. With Pte San tied, Hoka hauls him up, dragging him to the edge of the camp. The young man's face twists, anger and fear mixing in his eyes. He tries to talk, to spin another lie, but Wiyaka cuts him off. She steps forward, her voice steady as the rocks she prayed beside. "Take your greed and leave your shame," she says. "The earth sees all, and it won't forget." Pte San glares, but there's no fight left in him. Hoka shoves him toward the plains, his knife tossed far into the grass. "Go," Hoka growls, "and don't come back." Pte San stumbles off, swallowed by the night, his steps fading into nothing. The fire crackles soft again, the tension unwinding like a held breath let go. Hoka turns to Wiyaka, wiping sweat from his brow, and nods, a silent thank you. She sets the stone down, her hands trembling now that it's over. She didn't hesitate, didn't think twice. Those hands, once soft with grief, cradling a husband and son she couldn't save, had just carved her place in this moment. The Lakota say courage isn't loud, it's not shouts or boasts. It's the quiet choice to stand, to act when the world tests you. Wiyaka stood tonight, and something inside her shifts, hardens, grows. They sit back by the fire, the plains silent around them, the stars peeking through the clouds. Hoka pokes at the embers, his voice low. "You saved me," he says, simple and true. Wiyaka shakes her head, a small smile tugging at her lips. "We saved each other." The night feels different now, lighter, like the storm and the danger washed something away. She's not the woman who rode into that Cheyenne camp, hoping for someone else to give her worth. She's the woman who fought, who chose, who proved she's still here. And Hoka, steady beside her, sees it too. The knot of fear is gone, replaced by something stronger, something they'll carry forward together. The sun climbs slow over the plains, painting the grass gold and chasing away the last shadows of the night. Wiyaka sits by the teepee, her hands resting on her knees, the stone from last night still nearby. She feels different today, lighter somehow, like the weight she's carried for so long has shifted. Hoka steps out, his bow slung over his shoulder, and pauses to look at her. His eyes, scarred and deep, hold a quiet pride, a kind of knowing that doesn't need words. He kneels by the fire's ashes, stirring them with a stick, then speaks soft and clear. "You're no grandmother," he says. "You're a warrior of the heart." The words land gentle but strong, and Wiyaka feels them sink deep, warming her like the morning light. He reaches into his pouch and pulls out something small, a bracelet made of beads, blue and white, strung tight with care. It's a Lakota token, the kind given to honor someone who's earned it. He holds it out to her, his hand steady. "This was my sister's," he says. "She wore it when she rode with us, fearless. It's yours now." Wiyaka takes it, her fingers brushing the beads, feeling the weight of what it means. She doesn't cry, but her throat tightens. She slips it onto her wrist, the colors bright against her weathered skin, and looks at him. "Thank you," she whispers, and it's not just for the bracelet. It's for seeing her, truly seeing her when she'd almost stopped seeing herself. They sit together for a while, the silence, comfortable, the kind that comes when two people don't need to fill it with noise. Hoka breaks it first. "I'm heading north," he says, "to my hunk papa kin. They're good people, strong, fair. Come with me." It's not a command, not a plea, just an offer, plain and true. Wiyaka thinks about it, her eyes tracing the bracelet's pattern. She came here for a home, for Tatanka's promise. But that's gone. She could go back east, to the empty places she left behind, but that feels like giving up. Or she could ride with Hoka, not as a wife, not bound by old rules, but as a companion, a friend who's walked through fire and come out standing. She nods slow. "I'll go." They pack up the teepee, folding the hides, tying their bundles to the horses. Hoka moves with purpose, his hands quick and sure, while Wiyaka checks her own gear, her horse ready beside his. They don't talk much about what's ahead, but there's a plan now, a direction. North to the hunk papa, to a community that might value them both, not for what they used to be, but for what they are. The plains stretch wide around them, the wind tugging at their clothes, and Wiyaka feels a stir of something new. Not the loud hope she rode in with, but a quieter one, steady and real, built from the ground up. She didn't find the home she sought, the one Tatanka dangled in his letters. That dream crumbled in the dust of the Cheyenne camp. But she built something else, something better, with Hoka beside her. The Lakota know this truth. The wind doesn't carry you where you planned, but where you're meant to be. Wiyaka feels that now, in the way the bracelet sits on her wrist, in the way Hoka rides close, his presence solid as the earth. She's not alone anymore, not lost. She's a warrior of the heart, and this path, rough and uncharted, is hers to walk. As they mount their horses, the sun climbs higher, casting long shadows behind them. Wiyaka takes one last look at the sacred rocks, the place where she prayed, where Hoka found her. She doesn't need to ask Wakan Tanka for guidance now. The answer's here, in the choice she's made, in the strength she's claimed. They ride off together, side by side, the plains rolling out endless and free. It's not a love story, not the kind with sweet words and promises. It's something deeper, a bond forged in respect, in survival, in knowing they're enough, just as they are. Wiyaka stands on a hill, the plains stretching out below her like a sea of grass. The wind tugs at her hair, silver strands dancing free, and the beaded bracelet on her wrist catches the light. She closes her eyes, feeling the breeze, and whispers to herself, "My fire never died, it waited." Her voice is soft, but it carries the weight of every step she's taken, every wound she's turned into strength. She's not the woman who left her old life behind, chasing a stranger's promise. She's something more now, something whole. Wiyaka Sapa learned what the Lakota have always known. The years don't steal your worth, they shape it. The world might call you too old, too broken, too lost, but Wiyaka proved that's just noise. She faced rejection, stood against danger, and found a place not by begging for it, but by building it. With Hoka by her side, she carved a path late in life, and it led her to the truest home, one made of trust and quiet courage. If you've ever felt discarded, overlooked, or like your time has passed, remember her. Some journeys start when the sun's already high, but they shine just as bright. Picture this. Wiyaka and Hoka ride off together, their horses steady against the earth. The sunrise spills gold across the plains, and their silhouettes blend into the light. A wolf runs beside them, free and wild, its howl rising with the wind. They're heading north, to a future they'll face as companions, not bound by old rules, but by something stronger. It's not a perfect ending, not a fairy tale. It's real, raw, and beautiful, a story of two souls who refuse to fade. So, did her story touch you? Did it stir something in your heart? Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Wiyaka's journey reminds us all, your worth isn't gone, it's waiting for you to claim it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.